You just can't beat a figure that's this good, this quality, for only $19.99. You just can't. Let's open this Charizard up, check him out, and of course do some toy photography. So every time I do a Pokemon video on like a Jazzwares figure, I get really excited and I have a monologue about how happy I am that we're getting articulated action figures on Pokemon, on not just Charizard and Pikachu, whatever. I don't know, it's very exciting to me in this day and age that this is happening. And yes, this is a Charizard figure again, but it's Mega Charizard. That's cool. Like, I never would have thought that this is what I would be getting, an articulated Mega Charizard. And here we go, and there's my monologue about it right now. There's that. But anyway, this right here is the Trainer Team series from Jazzwares Mega Charizard X figure, and I'm very excited. It looks really good, and actually the last time I did a Jazzwares Pokemon video, I was actually very disappointed. It ended up being a pretty negative video, which is honestly pretty rare for me to have negative videos. I have a feeling this is going to be another positive one. I'm excited. Not only is Jazzwares putting out, these pretty nice quality articulated figures, but they're always at a really good price. They've been at the $20 price range this entire time. I don't think they've gone up at all, right? So that's just also exciting, and they're readily available. I've never really had a problem finding one of these before at Target. I just keep checking and I find them eventually, so that's just very exciting to me. This is so cool. And on the back for this wave, there's Cinderace's in stores. I've been able to find him. I'm not a big fan of the Galar starters in general, at least their final evolution, so I probably won't pick up Cinderace. Suicune's getting another release, which is exciting. I've heard a lot of people saying that they are mad that they missed out on the legendary beasts, so there they are again. This Deoxys, oh, this looks awesome. I saw him at New York Toy Fair in person, and he looked really good, so I'm gonna keep checking Target for him. Very, very exciting. But yeah, head to Target right now, and maybe you'll be able to find this guy. Hopefully you will. There's some other good, like Golisopod is out there right now, and Zeraora is out there, so that's really cool. Really, really cool. But if you'd rather pick it up online, I'll have the link in the description for this too to pick it up, so head down there to the link in the description, pick it up, and I hope you love the figure. Okay. Yes, let's open it up. It does make sense that we're getting a Mega Pokemon figure right now. I mean, Legends ZA is coming out later this year, and Megas are back, so it makes sense, But now I'm thinking, what would be another good Mega figure to get? I mean, I feel like one of the Mega Mewtwo's will get a figure of that. I would love a Mega Swampert. He might be one of my favorite Megas. Rayquaza, that might be a little bit of a tough figure to do, but it's possible. I don't know, what do you think? Which Mega should we get next? Well, here he is. He looks really good. He really does look quite great. I'm always impressed with figures that are $20 or less now, because it's kind of a rare thing, Like, most figures that used to be $20 are now $25 to $30 most of the time. Just makes me happy to keep seeing figures that are this price range. Like those Sonic figures from Jakks Pacific. Those were just super impressive that were like, $12 or something, So I'm feeling the same way with this. And usually I'm a little bit more, or a little less critical when figures are at a lower price range like that, which I think is fair. Like with him, his his elbows look a little funny. They look a little bit weird. I mean, they really don't. They look a little awkward, but they're fine. They're fine. And he's got a bunch of joints. The colors look really great. I mean, that's kind of just a testament to whoever designed this Mega form, but they did a great job with it in physical form. Like, he looks good. I'm pretty happy with this. Like, I think he looks better than the Jazzwares normal Charizard. I feel like the jaw just looks really bad on that figure. It just looks so goofy. That's the only thing about it that looks really bad. And I actually don't have it anymore. I sold it on Whatnot, by the way. He's cool. Like, he's even got articulated fingers. Look at that. That's cool. You can have him do an Arthur fist. Look at that. Nice. That's really cool. But anyway, the figure looks great. I mean, he's got the flames on his mouth and on his tail do look good. The colors look great. But I think, man, if they were able to make these like a clear looking fire, and there's been some other figures like on Ceruledge that would have been so cool if the swords were clear or translucent, and that would have been a huge plus with this if that was the case, and I would have been super impressed. But I get it, they're keeping it at that price point. But hey, if they're able to give him articulated fingers, why not some clear fire, Oh, so cool. Well, let's actually get into all the different joints he's got. We've got some thigh joints here, as well as another kind of like a knee joint right here, and the ankles move. Pretty great right there. And he's got a joint, you know, all the way up in the shoulder, and then another one here that goes out, up and down like this, and then double jointed elbows, and then those fingers that I was talking about, his little fingies. And in the neck, we've got one here, and we've got one at the head. And of course, his jaw moves up and down. And he's got a bunch in the back of his wings, like this. Ooh, there's a little blemish on his wings there. That's kind of weird. And I never noticed that his wings are all one big flap on Mega Charizard. That's cool. Like, it's all one big thing. That's cool, instead of being like two wings. But we've got joints here and here, so you can move, you know, the wings all around. Looks really good. And the tail, which they often do, Jazzwares, is the tail is like a wired tail. You can't do a whole lot with it. I mean, you can, I guess you can. So that's kind of cool. Kind of cool. And there is still a joint, though, near his butthole. I don't know how many crazy poses you could get with him, but you can do some stuff. There we go. Nice. So all of these Trainer Team series figures come with this exact same stand, and which is great. The fact that it comes with a stand, that's awesome. Some figures need it to stand up, period, and others don't, like this Charizard, obviously. He's doing just fine without it. But I think these stands really shine with Pokemon that fly, because they're usually very good at holding up the weight. Super, super cool. Like, that looks great. Oh, well, hang on. That looks great. Looks really, really good. Yeah, that looks awesome. That looks so awesome. It's a very small thing, but it really does make a big difference. You can really pose him a whole lot more, get all kinds of cool menacing stuff, and really just elevates the figure. Literally. So these figures are pretty big. How big are they? So Charizard's in a pretty stable kind of pose here. Pretty relaxed pose. What is that, like about 6 inches or so? I bet you if I were to straighten him out like even more, like that, probably a little bit taller. Yeah, 6.5 or so. I've got a bunch of Pokemon to compare him to. So starting off, here's just another Trainer Team figure. You know, same Jazzwares line. Like this figure a lot. I'd say they scale up pretty well. One thing with Pokemon is that, like, no matter where you're looking or which medium you're consuming Pokemon through, the sizes of the Pokemon vary. You know, it's sometimes they're huge, sometimes they're big, sometimes they have exact measurements based on which Pokedex, list, blah, 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 blah. If they don't exactly match exactly how you want it, it's okay. You know, it makes sense. It makes sense. Then, here he is compared to the Jazzwares Metagross, which this thing is so cool. Love this figure. Did a whole video on him a while back. And yeah, looking great. Looking really, really great together. So here is a Tomy Machamp, which I actually really like this figure a lot. Had it for a really long time. I'm surprised that Jazzwares hasn't done a Machamp in the Trainer Team yet. I feel like that would be a very popular figure. But I'd say Machamp's a little bit too small. And here he is compared to the best Pokemon ever, Feraligatr. And this is the Pokemon Scale World line, which these are really cool. I really like this. This is totally a statue, you know, he doesn't move, but still cool to have a big Feraligatr, you know. He definitely does not scale with this line, but you never know. Maybe this was a little baby, smaller Feraligatr that you catch in Pokemon Go and it says, it's tiny. And then this is a alpha from Legends Arceus or something. And here is the SH Figuarts Charizard, which this guy's pretty hard to find. He's very expensive nowadays, but he's still a cool figure. Mine's a little beat up from all the hell I've put it through, but definitely a little smaller, which makes sense. And man, there's a new Blockies Charizard out there right now. It's only available in China right now, not in the US, but I still want to get a hold of one. And speaking of Figuarts, here's the Ash Figuarts, which I think actually scales really well. You know, Charizard is probably not this big. We always kind of think he's big. Actually, I think this works. I think this actually works pretty well. And love this figure too, by the way. They need to re-release him, but I think this scales great. I might do something with these two. I don't know, we'll see. So, W or L? What do you think? I think he's a W. For a $20 figure, I think he looks really good. I didn't really have any problems with him, you know, all pretty good things. You know, there's some things I would have loved to have had better of, like the clear fire. The only real problem I had was that little blemish on the back of his wing, really, but I think he's a very easy W. Like, I think it's pretty clear. Nothing L-worthy going on here. Good job, Jazzwares. I'm happy that everything was really good in this one, because I was really disappointed in that last video with Cerule Edge. Here we go, W or L, what do you think? I'd love to know what you think. Big W for me. Big dub! Why did I say that? That was stupid. So I haven't done a good old-fashioned fire shot in a while with some real flames, and I feel like it's time for me to do that. I can't create any blue fire, unfortunately. Not that I know how to. If someone knows how to, let me know. But I think just some good old-fashioned fire will work great with this guy. So I'm gonna go set something up and take a shot with him. Okay, so here we are. I'm just outside here in my backyardish area. Charizard is just chilling right here. Got some lights going on. I set up a nice little rocky spot here for a cool background. It kind of just looks like they're in a mountainous terrain, you know, in some Pokemon region somewhere. And that's really it for my setup, but I'm gonna dump a little bit of Zippo lighter fluid back here and light it on fire. And then I'm gonna take a cool picture with fire. That's it. Let's go. Well, actually, that is kind of it. That is pretty much all that's gonna happen. I'm gonna dump a bunch of the lighter fluid, light it, hold down the trigger on my remote, and just keep taking it. Maybe I'll get a little bit of flame up in the front too, just to layer in together to see if that will, you know, kind of blend well. But that's pretty much it. It's not super dark out or bright out right now. It's just a cloudy day, which I think is gonna work perfectly for this. And don't worry, Charizard will not get burnt, hopefully. So my shutter speed's at 1,000, which is plenty fast. More than fast enough to get some good fire crispiness. I've got 2.8 for my aperture, which is gonna make a nice blurry background. Blurry background with fire still looks good. You don't get a lot of bokeh, but you can, but I kind of just like the way that looks anyway, so that's why I typically will keep my f-stop pretty low, and my ISO is at 400. Okay, I'm gonna take this shot before I run out of battery, before I run out of daylight, and let's just go. Let's go. That was a little bit too much. I'm gonna dump some water on here just to be safe. Okay, quick post-photo breakdown. Picture came out pretty good, I think, actually. So here's the final product, and just so everyone's aware, Charizard did not get damaged. I promise. He didn't lose any HP. He's good. And one thing with the Zippo lighter fluid, it's different than gasoline to the point where it burns not so hot. It burns, but it's not like a melty, melt you right away kind of fire. So it's good, and you know, it's so quick that it's not gonna really do any damage. So this is the final product, and this is the main photo I started with. So it's a pretty big difference. I mean, just the lighting on Charizard alone is pretty significant. You know, it looks really good. So essentially what I did, actually I took the photo again after you know, that mishap where I dumped water, because initially what I wanted to do was dump water all around Charizard also, which I forgot to do. So I did that and then redid it. So now I get this really nice reflective surface, because beforehand I didn't have that reflective surface and I forgot to do that. So usually when I shoot with fire or fireworks, I put water down first because it's safer and it makes this really cool reflective. Like, look how cool it looks over here. Like, that's super cool right here. Like, that's super cool. I ended up using a little bit from this shot. Yeah, look at me squirting the lighter fluid. But I grabbed this chunk of flame next to his tail, and there it is right there. And so on this one, I grabbed all of this right here, and then I brought that over, which is right here in front of his face. So the fire is not just in the background, it's all around him, which is super cool, right? And so I also took these two photos with the Lume Cube on top of him and in front of him, so I could achieve more of that rim lighting effect to put into this photo, which is why he's so much more lit and well lit on his face and on his wings and stuff. And I did go in Photoshop 2 and really use the dodge tool a lot to brighten things up, which definitely helped a lot. I gave him a little bit of extra rim lighting around his face, which really makes him stand out. I thought that was really important. That's all I did. That's the entire photo, really. Anyway, let's just go to the end of the video. Another huge win for Jazzwares, in my opinion, when they're putting out figures like this that are inexpensive and still pretty quality. It's great, and this figure is definitely an example of that. Curious to know what you think, and let me know what other Pokemon you think they should do next. I'm surprised they haven't done a Machamp yet, but either way, I'm getting them in the future. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. This photo, of course, is going to be posted up onto Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, all that stuff. And if you want to follow my work on any of those platforms, it's all linked in the video description below. And thank you so much for getting this far into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.